sickle cell anemia. As Nicola said, and I have to remember, it's now referred to as sickle cell disorder, not sickle cell disease. I tend to still use the term sickle cell disease, and that's most probably because I've been living with it for all of my life. So, you know, when you've got some, although people don't like terms, to me, regardless of what term I use, I've got sickle cell disease, sickle cell anemia, sickle cell disorder. So I was diagnosed at the age of 3 years old, and my parents were one of the Windrush. They came with that Windrush, and when they came to England, they didn't know anything about sickle cell. They hadn't heard of sickle cell. I'm one of 6 children, and out of the 6 of us, I think one's a carrier, one's AS, which is what Sarah explained, you're a carrier. I've got SS, which is the most severe case. One of my brothers had SC, and a sister had SC. Like 4, have I got 4?
Yes.
And then the 2 were carriers. So I think there was only one out of all of us that was AA. So, sorry. As Sarah explained, my story consists of just really being really severely ill throughout my whole childhood. I started going to hospital. I was diagnosed at the age of 3, and I started basically going to hospital I'd say about every 2 weeks. Then it became every 4 weeks. So if you can imagine, I was in hospital, out of hospital, in hospital, out of hospital. And I put up here, the reason why I put this in my diagram is because I think I spent the majority of my time in hospital as I did at home. Hospital became my family. The staff became my family. And it was really difficult. It wasn't just difficult for me. As you can imagine, there was 6 of us. So the attention that was being given to me, if you can imagine constantly having this excruciating pain that sickle cell can cause, and my parents having to run to the hospital with me because that was the only relief I was going to receive. And those other siblings would have to not fend for themselves, but as you can imagine, it wasn't a nice experience for them. So this is what I want to express as well, that it's not just difficult for the person who's suffering, it's also the carer, so that's the parents, but it's also the siblings. I experienced so much different complications with sickle cell, and to be quite honest, the fact that I'm standing here today is a really huge testimony. If somebody told me in 1963, in 1985, that I was going to be standing in a church in ECC that I actually belong to, that I was going to give a talk on sickle cell, I would actually have told them that they're lying, because I was given a 50-50 chance of surviving so much times. You know, I've had sickle cell causes excruciating pain that is indescribable. That's all I can say. It's a pain that the amount of times that I actually said, God, please take my life. That's the relief. That's the only way I could see that there would be a relief. I've had pneumonia. I've had my spleen out. I've had my gallbladder out. I've had, you name it really, I feel like I've had it all. And then I've had life-threatening experiences. Kidney stones, which means I don't have very good kidneys at the moment. A vascular necrosis, so I've had a left full hip replacement. And I remember actually that I was coming to this church just before I had the operation, and I was walking with a stick. And all of this is damage that is being done to you by the sickle cells. When I reached the age of 12, I remember I had such a severe crisis, and I can actually remember hearing a distance the doctor saying, she's only got a 50-50 chance. We've tried everything and nothing's working. And I think that was my first blood transfusion that I had when I was 12. And along with blood transfusion, when you have blood transfusion, you get an iron overload, because if you can imagine, you're having all this blood put into you, and you have to get rid of that iron. So can you imagine, as a young 12-year-old, I used to have to insert a butterfly underneath my skin, wear it for 12 hours, 24 hours, to get rid of the iron in my urine. So all of that I had to endure as well. But do you know what? The positive thing about it was that the blood transfusion actually worked for me. It gave me a different quality of life. And that was transfusion in the beginning. And then when I got to about 16, they decided to do exchange transfusions, like what Sarah explained. They would take the blood out and put the blood in. But I was born in 1963. So remember, I was one of the first people who started having things like blood transfusion. Sickle cell was not known at that time. It was very rare. So they used to take the blood out with syringes and put the blood up through me. It was manually done. So it would take me hours. I would just be lying there, having this done. Then the veins packed in. So I had to have a little water cap put underneath my chest. And that's where I started having my treatment. Up till that time, and this is what I want you to really, really take in, up to the time where I was having transfusions, I did not have a quality of life. But once I started having transfusion, blood donors sacrificing their time, sacrificing themselves, once I started having that, my life completely changed. I went to being somebody who was totally all the time to doing a degree at 51 years old, something I always wanted to do. Because my education, I had no education. When I say I had no education, I wasn't a silly person. But the grades that I received when I was growing up were not the grades that I deserved. And I knew that. So the minute I had that little quality of life because of the blood, I went back and studied. I went to do my O-levels, my A-levels, and then I decided, you know what, when my father passed away, because I know that if my father was here today, my father would be extremely proud of me, because he was the person that made me believe that no matter what situation you're in, no matter what you're going through, you're able to do, you can do. And that, I thank God for my parents, truly thank God for my parents. My mother's still alive, and my mother would have loved to have come today, but I think it would have been too emotional for her. I went and I sat my degree at the age of 52. My father had just passed away, actually. My father had passed away. It was when my father passed away that I decided I'm going to go and do. I want to do in life what I know is there for me, what God has formed me to do, and just be the person that I know that I really am. And sickle cell took that away from me as a child. So I went to do my degree. I passed with first class honours. I did graphic design, education, communication, and I put lots of my work over there. And I also got married and had children. I also said I wouldn't do. Now the key to this talk is when I had my children, I needed blood. I needed blood. When I went to do my degree, I needed blood. Everything that I have done for the last 30 to 35 years was because I needed blood. You know, my faith was there, but believe it's not just by faith, it's by you. It's by you, the people, showing your kindness. It's by you, the people, stepping out to help people like me. And if it wasn't for the people that stepped out to help me, I wouldn't be here today. And I know that for a fact. No, I was brought up in the church. My parents brought me up in the church, and we prayed. They gave me medicine. They asked for healing. But God works with people. God, we are supposed to be working, yeah? And from God, sending people like you to be blood donors. That's how I became the person I am today. 20 years working in a school, mentoring students, encouraging students, telling them that they could do. And do you know what the beauty is? Now, right now at this moment, This is just a little shot of my life. Lots of little pictures of shot of my life. And I'm going to come overhead quickly. Don't think you can see it from here. Can you believe that I designed this poster in 1985 for the Sickle Cell Society, for the underground station, before I even qualified as a graphic designer? 1985, what does that make me? 21, 22? I'm not good at the numbers either. And you know, there was always something in me that told me that although I had this blood disorder, I was not defined by this blood disorder. I was given a gift, and that was my art. This is my art. So, you know, we say that we believe in God, that we're children of God, but you know what's the most important thing? Whatever you go through, and whatever quality or skills that you have, learn to use it to help people, to love people. That's how you show love. To love people, it's by your works, isn't it? It's by your works. So now, today, what I do, after 20 years of being in the school, I had to take ill health retirement because it was too much for me. So I decided that this gift that God has given me, I'm going to use it to help other people. I'm going to use it to encourage people who have gone through what I've gone through. I'm going to encourage them to let them know that man cannot tell you that you're not going to survive, you're not going to make it. And I want to get people to believe in themselves, because I think that's what happened to me. I had to go on a journey where I had to believe in myself. Today I'm going to, you know, I'm talking, I've got my notes about, I can't even look at my notes because this is something that I'm so passionate about, but I don't feel I need to use notes. The one thing I will say to everybody is, even if you can't give blood, even if you're scared to give blood, because I know that some people it's fair and that makes people sometimes, puts people off, even if you can't do that, just remember me talking here today and what I've said to you. Those people, all those people that donated their blood to me, saved my life, saved my daughter's lives, saved my grandchildren's lives. If there was no me, there'd be no Rachel, there'd be no Venetia, there'd be no Orion, there'd be no Alea, there'd be none of them. And my grandchildren and my family are seriously my life. And you know what? I've got a husband in the making of it. Somebody looked at me and did not look at me for what I suffered from, but looked at me as a person and said, I love you. And that's what each of us needs to do today. Look at a person like me and say, I love you, and reach out. If you can't give blood, I know that you can do something. I know that you will be able to do something to help. I know it. I can feel you all rushing towards us afterwards, that you want to help. And it's important. It really is important. For me, I see it as my mum says this. I don't like what my mum says it, but I'm going to say today, I'm going. I'm not coming. But for the younger ones that are coming, I want my legacy to be that they actually are living because they've got something to live for. And we can help them. When I say we can help them, I'm a sickle cell advocate. I feel that's my job now. I feel that's the job that God has put in my life, but all of us can help them. And like Sarah said, the amount of, we focus the blood transfusion on blood donors, but you know what? It could be your mother tomorrow. It could be your daughter tomorrow. It could be you. You don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen to them. Nobody knows when they are going to need blood. So if you think of it in that way, you're even helping yourself. On that note, I think I've spoken more than enough. But I hope that you've got an idea or had an idea.
I hope that moved you guys, because